Guess who's not a fan of the official World Golf Rankings? World number 5 Jon Rahm has criticized the rankings in a rather public outburst, calling them laughable. What's the reason behind it? We'll tell you about his fiery rant and the World Golf Rankings in detail, so stick around. Starting with Jon Rahm's rant. Regarding the conflict between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf, Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy are on the same team. Both have continued to give their all to the PGA Tour. But that doesn't imply that Rahm and McIlroy always agree on the current situation, particularly considering Rahm's reluctance to commit to playing 20 times on the PGA Tour each season. Rahm didn't hold back in his criticism of the PGA Tour's tactics in its battle with LIV Golf, whereas McIlroy hasn't gone that far. Clearly, the official World Golf Rankings are not a hoot for Jon Rahm, and he recently quite publicly discussed why he thinks the rankings are laughable. Turns out, he doesn't support everything that the PGA Tour does. He says it's absurd that the DP World Tour Championship, where we've 7 of the top 20, gets more points than the RSM, which has none of the top 20 players in the world. Then, the Fortinet Championship, which featured players ranked among the top 10 in the world, had more points than the BMW PGA Championship. He's got the point there. No pun intended. Rahm's main beef is with what he considers to be an unfair system that rewards the PGA Tour over the DP World Tour and frequently gives minor PGA Tour events with sparse star power and deep fields more ranking points than DP World Tour competitions with top 10 competitors, as is the case this week with the PGA Tour's RSM Classic and the DP World Tour Championship. Next, he's not 100% against LIV Golf. Over the past few years, Rahm has made a reputation for himself as one of the most recognizable names in golf. He's getting close to the caliber of celebrities like Rory McIlroy and Justin Thomas. As a result, he's got a significant voice in the PGA. And guess what? Nobody is safe from a little criticism a la Rahm. For many people, joining LIV means the next 3 or 4 years are essentially equivalent to their retirement plan. So he supports them going to the tournament to earn better paychecks that'll help them cruise into the sunset after retiring. Rahm also believes that the DP World Tour should be given more credit. He thinks the PGA has an advantage that makes things laughable. Not meeting with LIV was a mistake and a missed opportunity. On that, both parties came up short. And that's where a great deal of the hostility began, according to the World number 5. We've seen how Jon's been one of the most dominant players in professional golf for more than a year. And in the past, he's also been a vigorous defender of the PGA Tour in its conflict with the fledgling LIV Golf Tour. But that doesn't imply that he supports all of their decisions. Not by any means. He's never been afraid to express his brutally frank opinions. It'll be interesting to see whether he receives a response from the PGA over his comments. Coming up is the OWGR stuck in the middle. The official World Golf Ranking has also been caught up in the conflict between the PGA Tour and LIV, in which the two organizations disagree over whether LIV competitions should be eligible for ranking points. OWGR points are not awarded for LIV events because they only have 54 holes and no cut. The OWGR is currently conducting a review to decide whether and how LIV tournaments should receive points. Regarding LIV's attempts to climb the world rankings, Rahm stated that he's not necessarily against the new tour receiving points, but that LIV must modify the system to receive full ranking points. Regardless of the size or depth of the field, Rahm believes that tournaments featuring the best players in the world should be given more importance. Even though he recognizes their intent with the depth of field, he doesn't believe the tournament would be any better without the best players in the world. Now, could we see a truce between the two leagues anytime soon? The length of the OWGR's LIV review process hasn't been disclosed yet, but there's a good reason why the subject arouses such strong feelings. World ranking points are necessary to qualify for the majors, legitimize LIV Golf, and draw new players, but they have no bearing on how many millions of dollars LIV pros can earn at their tournaments. LIV would suffer a severe setback if the OWGR decided to exclude LIV tournaments from the international ranking system. Recently, McIlroy has been edging closer to calling for a ceasefire between the two parties. Some time ago, he made the same suggestion again, and Rahm agreed with it in his remarks, and the two also agreed on why negotiations haven't happened as well. CEO of LIV, Greg Norman. Rahm thinks Norman might have an ulterior motive. Norman's unsuccessful attempt to launch a world golf tour in the 1990s sparked this retaliation. PGA Tour players led by Arnold Palmer rejected the concept, and despite obtaining a broadcast rights agreement with Fox Sports, the tour was never launched. Trust us, the irony isn't lost here. Norman is currently the focus of reports that Mark King, a former TaylorMade executive, will take over as CEO of LIV Golf. McIlroy and Rahm think Norman should leave stage left and that he's not the greatest guy for the job. Ouch. Moving on, let's look at how these rankings work. Now, let's dive deep to find out what the fuss is about. The official World Golf Ranking includes events from the top professional eligible golf tours around the globe, major championships, World Golf Championships, the Olympic golf competition, and the World Cup of Golf. That means team competitions aren't allowed to be included in this. Subject to their specific finishing position, all players participating in these tournaments will receive ranking points. The OWGR system is operated on a rolling period of 2 years. To put even more emphasis on recent performances, ranking points are derived from each tournament's total field rating and kept at their full value for 13 weeks. For the final 91 weeks of the 2-year ranking period, ranking points are then decreased equally. The order of the players is then determined by their average points per tournament, which is calculated by dividing each player's total points by the total number of tournaments they've participated in during the past 2 years. For the tournaments a player has participated in throughout the 2-year ranking period, a minimum divisor of 40 and a maximum divisor of 52 tournaments are applied. Performance points are contributed by each participant in a tournament based on their unique strokes gained world rating. The total field rating is equal to the sum of these performance points. Now for those ranking points. The total field rating for each tournament serves as the basis for the ranking points breakdown. Regardless of where they placed in the competition, all players who make the cut and finish in an event receive ranking points. When more players than expected make the cut and finish the event, the number of points awarded will be slightly higher than the total field rating. When players who have cut are disqualified, retire, or withdraw from the later rounds, causing the number of players completing the event to be less than the predicted number of players to cut, points will be awarded that is marginally less than the total field rating. The PGA Championship, US Open Championship, the Open Championship, and the Masters Tournament are graded independently, and each receives 100 first-place points. A separate rating is given to the Players' Championship, which receives 80 first-place points. Lastly, let's look at the strokes that gained world rating. A player's strokes gained world rating is calculated using actual stroke play tournament scores over a rolling 2-year period, with each round's relative difficulty considered. A similar weighting scheme to that used for world ranking points gives recent performances more weight. The strokes gained world rating may include results from 18-hole round stroke play competitions that have been completed. The performance curve assigns a specific number of performance points to each stroke gained world rating. Players are given a value of 0.01 performance points if they have 10 or fewer recorded scores. A maximum of 10% of the competition field rating may be contributed by each player with fewer than 50 recorded scores. The average ranking points predicted per stroke gained world rating is calculated using each player's scores from stroke play competitions over 2 years. These results are then plotted to produce the performance curve, and the points breakdown is decreased by 75% for events reduced to 36 holes. This can be due to bad weather or other circumstances, but a tournament won't ever be cut below its historical minimum points level. Capiche? That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Jon Rahm's rant is justified? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.